Schubacher, Facebook Live on the first day of summer. This is beautiful. June 21st, 2018. And we're here at a roundabout in Oakland County that has become a very popular spot. It was a popular spot before the roundabout, but here at 14 Mile Northwestern Highway and Orchard Lake Road is one of the newest, most popular ones in Oakland County. And please, while we're talking with Craig Bryson from the Road Commission for Oakland County, please share this with your friends, your family, your coworkers. It's really important because this is a hot topic. People, you either like them. Cindy Dingle just said a little while ago, she's off camera. Hi, Cindy. She said, hey, basically you either like them or you don't like them. That's the kind of comments that we're getting. We want to hear your comments. You have any questions for Craig Bryson, please let him know and ask those questions. You see what the title is. They're here to stay, and there are going to be more of them, as we know. So, Craig Bryson, welcome to Facebook Live. Nice to have you here. Now, we're here at what I think at one time was the craziest intersection I ever had to traverse just with traffic signals. What benefit have you seen from having the roundabout here, and what are some of the negative comments you maybe received?
Sure, we've had a lot of benefits here. The main reason we chose a roundabout for this intersection is to improve safety and improve traffic flow. This was a very congested intersection. We have a state highway that dead ends at Orchard Lake Road here, dumps all that traffic on the county roads. It's been a huge congestion issue for years. A roundabout handles about 50% more traffic than a signalized intersection. And the reason it does that is because you've got traffic flowing in all directions at all times. It also significantly reduces serious injury, crashes, and fatalities. So nationwide, we see about a 90% reduction in fatalities when we build a roundabout and replace a traffic signal. Here we've had no serious injuries, no fatalities since this roundabout opened. That's been pretty much the case across the county with all the roundabouts we've built. We think they're a great solution for many situations, not all, but many situations.
I know you have accidents, but they're the low impact accidents I think that happen here.
Absolutely. We sometimes see a slight uptick in fender benders when we introduce a roundabout, and we certainly don't want those. We do everything we can to prevent those. But in the big scheme of things, we would much rather have those than serious injury accidents, brain injuries, serious bodily injuries, or fatalities. That's what we're really trying to prevent is the fatalities and the serious injuries.
Okay. Now, you brought up something that I thought was really interesting. Cindy echoed this, too. What happens, I've never had anybody ask me this, but this is a fascinating premise. Okay, here I see a truck right here from Ajax coming in here, one of the repaving. What happens when a truck comes into a roundabout, and also what happens with emergency vehicles? What should you do? Let's watch this truck go through here now and see what he or she does driving this. Okay, they made it around fine. But what should you do if you have any question about what you should do if you see a truck?
Give them space. Slow down. Let them go ahead of you if they're ahead of you. Give them room. The roundabouts are designed to handle these big trucks. Typically, most of them can get through in their lane without a problem. The extremely large trucks might have to take up more than one lane, and just give them the room to do that. We also have the center island, as you can see, has a ramp, a curb that the trucks can mount, a mountable curb in the center island so that the trucks can go up on that curb if they need to cut the corner. And that's how it's designed to allow them to get through. The emergency vehicles.
Normally, we're supposed to stop, pull over to the side, whatever. Obviously, you're in a roundabout. That's pretty difficult to do.
Right, and that's one of the few exceptions to that rule. In a roundabout, you do not pull over and stop in the roundabout. Okay,
hey, thanks so much for sharing this as well, Pam. But thank you for chiming in and giving us your comment, and any questions anybody else might have, please let us know. So Pam's comment, well taken.
Absolutely, it's a great point. We continue to try to do everything we can to educate the public, Pam. That's exactly what we want to do. We've literally been working for 20 years to try to educate the public since we built the first roundabout 20 years ago in Oakland County. But it's an ongoing process, and we want to do everything we can to reach as many people as we can with information.
Yeah, and if you like the idea of having the roundabouts, please chime in as well. I mean, it's easy to say a negative comment is necessary or have a question, but if you like them and you see benefits to them, let us know as well. Shout it out to us. We'd like that. Okay, another comment. Okay, great question, Andrew.
Great question. We have today 22 roundabouts. By the end of next year, we'll have 30. So we've got 8 more roundabouts coming. We've got 5 coming on the Baldwin Road corridor, just north of I-75 to Walden Road. We've got one coming on the Lake Orion Township border at Orion-Flint intersection, and one more coming at Adams and Gunn in Oakland Township, and another coming next year at Maple and Middle Belt here in West Bloomfield Township.
If you were to study this, it seems to me that if a business was going to move into the area or somebody was going to move into a residence, if they saw the traffic stoppages all over the place, they might say, well, wait a minute, that congestion might influence my business, might influence me getting back and forth to a residence. It seems to me when I approached this intersection, and I hadn't been here in a while, and not driven this roundabout until today, it seemed to be quieter in this intersection and it flows better. Is that something you studied when you decided to do the roundabouts and for the future roundabouts as well? The improvement of business and residential areas as well?
Absolutely. We look at all of the traffic flow in the area, the access to businesses and residents. We do computer simulations of different traffic conditions with different intersection configurations. Maple Road, just north of here, is a perfect example. We put a roundabout in over 10. Right. Right. Over 10 years ago, we put a roundabout at Maple and Drake and Maple and Farmington. Prior to those roundabouts going in rush hour, you could sit for 20 minutes at those intersections trying to get through. Now traffic flows. Even at the peak of rush hour, you might sit briefly, but it's nothing like the congestion that used to be there. So it makes a world of difference.
And let's anticipate, it sounds like from what I saw in your paper, that you're going to have one at Middle Belt and Maple as well.
That's correct. Yep.
Is that this year or next year?
That's coming next year in 2019. That'll be a fairly major project because there's also a culvert just to the east of Middle Belt that needs to be replaced with that as well.
When you do these intersections, that means you also have to consider all the utilities that go underneath and around these, right? They have to be fitted in. So it takes a while to put this in place and also fit in all the areas that are necessary for people who live or have businesses around here.
Absolutely. We have to, there's a lot of utilities buried in the ground in major urbanized areas. It all has to be moved out of the way. Sometimes we have to purchase additional property around the intersection. That's a very costly and time-consuming process. So there's a lot that goes into these projects.
To watch. We've been hearing the horn every once in a while. You can see where sometimes somebody forgets to yield because usually there's never a stop sign here, right? Or hardly any signal. There's never going to be a signal, but it's usually a yield sign you're going to see. So what are some of the tips that you have for traversing this? Plus add that EMS idea too. We interrupted that. I want to make sure people understand when there's an emergency vehicle in the roundabout what you should do.
Right. Good points. First and foremost, what to do when you're approaching a roundabout is watch the signs and see which lane goes the direction you want to go. Usually the inside lane turns left. Sometimes it also goes straight, but look at the signs that tell you where each lane goes and get in the lane you need to be in before you get to the roundabout. Once you get to the roundabout, stay in that lane and follow it through to your destination. That's the most important. Secondly is make sure you yield at the roundabout. The cars in the roundabout circle have the right-of-way, so you have to yield to them as you enter. Wait till there's an opening and then go. Those two things, right? Those two things are critical. If you can do those, we'll prevent a lot of fender benders.
Okay, I'll interrupt. We're going to get to the EMS vehicles, but we have another question, another comment.
James Bersine believes that the roundabouts are dangerous. What are the statistics?
Excellent question. They don't.
Great.
Reiterate the question because they can't hear it.
Oh, yeah,
Great question.
Okay, yeah, James was asking, he thinks they seem to be more dangerous than they're safer. Obviously, the statistics don't bear that out, but you have more information about that.
Right, and that's a great question. That's a major misconception that people have, and understandably so. But the statistics are overwhelming. Both Michigan and the nation, when roundabouts replace signalized intersections, we see consistently a 90% reduction in fatalities. There's nothing else we can do as a road agency that can eliminate traffic deaths by 90%. Nothing. It's phenomenal as far as a safety approach. There's been about a 76% reduction in serious injury accidents. Again, that's phenomenal. Very few things we can do have that kind of impact on safety. So, yes, there continue to be some minor fender benders, but those are non-injury fender benders, and we can fix cars a lot easier than we can fix people. So from our point of view, the safety is critical.
I'm assuming that what's happened too is we got rid of those T-bone accidents at the intersections where somebody may have run the light and creamed somebody going east or west or north and south.
Great point. In urbanized areas like much of Oakland County, the way people die is at intersections, and generally in two means. One, either a head-on collision, or two, the T-bone that you mentioned. Those are where we have fatalities in Oakland County and urbanized counties. Roundabouts physically eliminate the possibility of either of those types of crashes. So it's a tremendous safety benefit.
Got another comment.
And this is from Matt Darby. He says he
Matt.
likes the roundabouts, but he says there's a double roundabout at US 23 right
Ah.
now.
Yeah, Matt Darby, good comment, good question. We talked about this before. You can't get into the details because we really don't know. You're crossing over into Livingston County. Very interesting roundabouts there at Lee Road and US 23. Matt, so much, really appreciate this. Plus the other one on the other side of US 23. So they're going to change that. They're going to put $1 million into it. They had an opportunity to study it. What are you seeing or what are you hearing? Why was that necessary there?
Well, that's a good learning opportunity. That roundabout or set of roundabouts has been there a while now. Design philosophy in roundabouts has changed a bit since those went in, and they've learned, they've studied, and they've learned. And to Livingston County's credit, the road commission there, they are making changes, making improvements.
And you go learn from that.
Absolutely, we've learned from studying what they've done there as well.
That's very good. That's an excellent question. Another comment. Another question. Excellent question. How many fatalities were happening here without the roundabout at the 14 and Orchard Lake Road?
I don't have the number off the top of my head. I'm sorry, but there were regular, continuous fatalities and serious injury accidents for years before. There have been none since this roundabout opened.
Okay, and then we interrupted the information again about if a fire truck is in here, an ambulance or rig comes through, what are you supposed to do in a roundabout? You're normally supposed to pull over to the side. You can't do that here.
Right. So when you see an emergency vehicle in a roundabout, continue through the roundabout, get out of the roundabout, and then pull over. Do not pull over or stop in the roundabout.
Okay, excellent. Okay, now I also see something here. We're hearing the sound and the voice every once in a while. What am I noticing here about this walkway that's different than the walkway? You'll see it on camera as well right here, than what's in a normal crosswalk.
This is a special crosswalk that we're now installing in all multi-lane roundabouts. This is now a national standard. We were one of the first in the nation to do these. These are called HAWK, or high-intensity crosswalk signals. So you push a button, and the signals above the road only activate when a pedestrian is there to push the button.
Sandy Dingle is doing that right now, as a matter of fact.
So it does not stop traffic when there is not a pedestrian, but when there is a pedestrian, it will stop the traffic and allow them to safely cross the busy intersection.
Okay. She's able to walk that because the signal has now indicated that she's able to walk across. So Cindy just did that by pressing that button. She'll continue across when she presses the button over there to get across that section of 14 Mile, eastbound 14 Mile, right?
Right, and that ensures safe pedestrian crosswalks, not only for all pedestrians, but for handicapped pedestrians as well.
That just happened for her, dude. I don't know if you got a chance to see that. That probably came across very, very well. That was great of Cindy to walk across and show how that worked. Okay, got another comment or question? Good question. Okay, her first name was Sherry?
Her first name is Kim.
Okay, Kim, thank you so much for asking. Good question. Size-wise, this was a big intersection here, but you do take real estate away from possibilities of development and things like that in some intersections because they're also very small. How large an area do you need to put in a roundabout?
Kim, that's a great question, and it varies depending on the needs of the road. This intersection carries about 100,000 vehicles per day. It's huge. We are also building a roundabout right now in Lake Orion, Orion Township border, the Flint-Orion roundabout. That's what we call a micro roundabout that is much smaller, fits into a much smaller footprint, doesn't have the big island in the middle. It's got essentially a painted circle in the middle, but that's based on the amount of traffic and the needs of that intersection. So we can build them, we design them to reflect the needs that are there at the intersection. It doesn't have to, in fact, it's only this big when we have this kind of traffic needed.
sense of pride from what you guys are seeing here and the fact that you put these roundabouts in a number of other areas. You're advancing this really in a very positive way. So thank you very much, Craig. It's very interesting. And we got another comment from one of our listeners and viewers.
Ray Tejada, he says extra
Right.
signage needs to be displayed going into the roundabout so the public isn't surprised as to what they need to do going into it.
I wonder what Ray would be. What would he want? I wonder. I'm just kind of curious. But what he thinks there should be more signage. So what do you think Ray is thinking about when it comes into these roundabouts?
Well, that's a great question. There is actually some debate within the traffic circles nationwide about the amount of signs you should have. Some traffic experts argue that too many signs is detrimental as well because people are too focused on the signs and on the road. There should be a minimal amount of signs with just the right information. Right now, we follow the national standards for roundabouts, but the national bodies that govern that are continuing to discuss and study that issue. So it's not a finished issue yet. So stay tuned.
Sure. Comments, and where are we getting some of these comments from? From all the Detroit area, from the entire area? That's fantastic. Thank you for chiming in and asking these questions and these comments. I'm thinking that we're getting people from drivers training, the police department, people who are teaching new drivers how to do this, but older drivers are going to probably struggle. Where are you getting most of the comments at the Road Commission for Oakland County in the office? Who is calling more than anything?
Well, in some cases it's hard to tell. We don't of course ask people's ages, but we do hear from a lot of people who volunteer anecdotally that they are seniors and they're a little bit uncomfortable with this. Referring to one of the questions earlier, we've done a lot of outreach to try to reach those two groups. We contacted every single driver's education program we could find in Oakland County, provided them both videos and brochures. We've contacted every senior center we could find.
You have a brochure with you. You got the
we
brochure with you.
We have several brochures about roundabouts.
I can hold this one up, as a matter of fact.
We've worked closely with the AARP and provided them brochures for their senior driver training programs. But as many ways as we can find to do that, we'll continue to do that.
And there's a brochure here not only for the roundabout, but also how to use the Hawk crossword signals that you just saw.
Yep.
So, another comment.
Yes, Sherry Muffin says, isn't each person supposed to yield before entering a roundabout? Because I see a lot of times 6 or 7 cars just barrel through.
Absolutely, and that is sometimes a problem.
Sherry had asked, should both sides yield, or she sees people just barrel through. So what's the remedy there?
That is an issue sometimes. There are large yield signs at the entrance points, and that is a critical element of the process, is you have to yield to traffic in the circle. We've tried to in our education processes, make that point as well, but it's certainly something we need to continue to reiterate.
Sure, but the bottom line is that it's improving traffic flow, and it's reducing fatal accidents.
Absolutely. Those are the key points that we prefer them for.
Okay. And now you've got 22. You got another comment, please.
He says, can we make all of the roundabouts large enough for semi-trucks with a full 53-foot trailer?
Okay, so Matthew is wondering, can you make the roundabouts big enough with a full 53-foot trailer? Excellent question, Matthew. Thank you. Everybody, great questions.
That is a great question. And our design engineers do design all roads. All projects are intended to be designed to handle any vehicle that can legally travel on the road system, including the 53-foot trucks. So theoretically, they're designed to do that.
And we've been watching some like that asphalt truck that came through. That was a big truck. He was able to transfer and go through this without any trouble. So that was good planning on your part. So 22 this year. You've got some more coming up. We're going to wrap up things now. But you got more coming next year. What's some of the big projects next year while we wrap up?
Well, Baldwin Road will add 2 this year and 3 more next year in the 2-mile section north of I-75. The Middle Belt and Maple project we mentioned. We've got the Adams and Gunn in Oakland Township will be coming next year. That's a big one as well. And then the Flint Orion one on the Orion Township Lake Orion border.
And if folks wanted to give you guys input, you and Cindy Dingle, how would they get the input to you to give their opinions, their ideas, their thoughts?
Absolutely. A number of ways. You can contact us through our Facebook page. You can visit our website, rcocweb.org. You can send us an email or call our toll-free number, 877-858-4804. Send us an email at dcsmail, mail, at rcoc.org.
Fantastic. Craig Bryson, Road Commission for Oakland County. Cindy Dingle, thank you so much for being involved. We have also a young man here who is also an intern this summer, Jack. Was the University, Grand Ash, is that right? Van Ash, who goes to the University of Michigan Dearborn. Congratulations, Jack. Great people to work with at the Road Commission for Oakland County. Thank you for looking in on this Facebook Live, talking about the roundabouts. Very interesting and very informative. We thank you for looking in and sharing this with all your friends and family and your folks at work. We'll see you next time. Of course, Tracy McGaskill's on right now with Jackie Page, traffic and weather together on the 8s to talk about what's going on right now in existing roundabouts. If there's accidents, you'll find out about that as well. See you next time. See you bright and early tomorrow morning as well. Have a great day and happy summer. Thank you, Craig Bryson.
Thank you.